Dead Rails is finally making a comeback. For months, the game has been stuck in decline. We've all seen the charts, we've all seen the complaints, we've all watched the hype drain away while other Roblox games took over the spotlight. But with this new update, it feels like Dead Rails has finally taken its first real step toward recovery. Because for the first time in a long time, we've gotten a content drop that feels alive, that feels ambitious, and that actually pushes the game back toward the things that made it special in the first place. And if you've already jumped into the new build, you know what I'm talking about. The weapons, the events, the train, the challenges. Dead Rails is starting to feel like Dead Rails again. Let's start with the most obvious part of this update: the weapons. We finally got 4 new guns to fight with: the Flintlock Pistol, the Springfield Rifle, the Revolving Rifle, and the Spear. The Flintlock Pistol immediately changes the early game. It's not just a sidearm, it feels like an authentic piece of Dead Rails world. The Springfield Rifle adds long-range precision, something the game was really missing, because the basic rifle basically got nerfed. Suddenly, taking down mobs from a distance feels satisfying instead of just leaving them with low health with a rifle. The Revolving Rifle is the opposite. It's all about speed, about putting out rounds without reloading every 2 seconds. When you're defending the train from a wave of enemies, this gun feels like a lifesaver. And then there's the Spear. It's melee, yeah, we already got a ton of them, but I think the Spear is just another fun melee to use, so this is good. You know, for months, people have been saying the game needed new guns, new variety, and now we finally have it. These 4 weapons aren't just add-ons. They're a sign that the devs want to expand the game's systems and make every run feel different. But the biggest surprise in this update is the mini POI, Lincoln's Funeral Train. This is where Dead Rails shows it still knows how to do something unique. While other games spam meaningless grind events, Dead Rails just dropped one of the weirdest, most creative additions we've seen. The setup is brilliant. You come across Lincoln's funeral train, and inside, you find his casket. If you manage to steal his iconic hat and solve a riddle, you can actually spawn Lincoln's ghost, and if you beat him, you unlock the ghostly hat, which comes with special powers. And the best part is that this isn't a one-time seasonal gimmick. It's integrated into the game. Every time you queue up for a run, there's a chance you could end up facing Lincoln's ghost. Honestly, I'm so surprised for this POI since I had somewhat the same idea in my previous video but without the Lincoln soul. As if that wasn't enough, the update also added a new train, the presidential train. Now trains in Dead Rails aren't just cosmetics, they define how your runs feel, and the presidential train might be the most unique addition yet. Instead of just looking flashy, it comes with a mechanic. Kill 25 enemies nearby, and you actually summon Lincoln's ghost to fight alongside you. Think about that. You're fending off waves of mobs, and suddenly you've got the ghost of Abraham Lincoln dropping in to swing the tide of battle. The Lincoln ghost is like, I can say a mini-boss, like a werewolf, so it's actually helpful. So yeah, I love that the devs are giving players reasons to log in again. Every run now feels different. Every fight has the chance to become something chaotic and unforgettable. And that's the spark that was missing. And then there are the weekly challenges. 6 new ones dropped with this update. And while challenges might sound like a small feature, they're actually huge for the game's replayability. One of Dead Rails' biggest problems was that after a couple of runs, you had nothing left to do. You'd seen it all. Weekly challenges fix that by constantly giving you new objectives. They create that little push to keep coming back, week after week, to test yourself in different ways. And the best part is that it doesn't feel like filler. These challenges are actually tough. They ask you to play differently, to try new weapons, to explore new strategies. Suddenly, Dead Rails isn't just a one-and-done experience. It's something that keeps evolving. Now, all of this would already be enough to call the update a win. But what really seals the deal is what came alongside it. Rico Miller, the owner of Dead Rails, finally gave us some clarity about where the game is headed. In his announcement, he explained why the mastery system has been paused. And honestly, it makes sense. Trying to bolt progression onto 26 different classes that were never designed for leveling was a nightmare. It wasn't fun for testers, it wasn't balanced, and it was unfair to players who already bought classes. So instead of forcing it, Rico made the decision to stop. to focus on content, to bring Dead Rails back to what made it special in the first place. And that's why this update feels different. It's not just a random drop, it's a statement. Rico himself said this marks the restart of the bi-weekly update schedule. Every 2 weeks, new content. Not massive reworks, not systems nobody asked for, but actual gameplay. And while the next update might be delayed a bit because of RDC, the point is clear. Dead Rails finally has direction again. For the first time in months, Dead Rails feels like it's going to rise again. We're not just getting filler updates, we're getting new weapons that change how combat feels. We're getting weird, memorable events like Lincoln's Ghost. We're getting trains with unique mechanics, not just new skins. We're getting weekly challenges that create real replayability. And most importantly, we're getting communication from the devs about what's happening and why. It's not perfect. The game still has a long way to go. Player counts aren't going to magically return to 1 million overnight. Roblox's ecosystem still favors grindy dopamine loops, and Dead Rails will always be fighting against that. But this update proves that the devs aren't giving up. It proves that they're listening, that they're willing to make bold choices, and that they still care about making Dead Rails something worth playing. And that's how comebacks start. Not with one massive game-breaking expansion, but with small, meaningful steps in the right direction. The bigger question now is whether Dead Rails can keep this up. A single update doesn't save a game, but a consistent schedule of content backed by communication can rebuild trust and momentum. Imagine if every 2 weeks Dead Rails dropped something like this. New weapons, new trains, new mini POIs with secrets and riddles, new challenges that keep players experimenting. That's how you turn a decline into a recovery. And more than that, this update shows that Dead Rails doesn't need to copy its competitors to succeed. It doesn't need to be Grow a Garden. It doesn't need to be another grind simulator, it just needs to be itself. Unpredictable, atmospheric, intense, and a little bit ridiculous. Lincoln's Ghost might seem like a joke, but it's the perfect example of why people love this game in the first place. It's weird, it's memorable, and it makes for stories you can't get anywhere else on Roblox. So, is this the beginning of Dead Rails' comeback? Honestly, yes. And not just because the update gave us a few new toys to play with, but because it finally feels like the developers understand what the game needs. For months, Dead Rails was drifting with no real direction. Updates felt random, and the silence from the devs made it easy to believe the game was finished. But now, with this update, there's proof that the team is listening, that they're willing to make bold choices, and that they're bringing the game back to life in a way that actually makes sense. Of course, it won't be easy from here. One update doesn't erase the months of decline, or the thousands of players who already moved on to other games. The hype era, where Dead Rails sat at over 1 million concurrent players, probably isn't coming back in the exact same way. But comebacks aren't about instantly reclaiming the top spot. If Rico and his team can keep this energy going, if they really commit to the bi-weekly updates and keep focusing on content that matters, then Dead Rails doesn't just have a chance to survive, it has a chance to thrive. And maybe that's the bigger story here. Dead Rails isn't just fighting for itself, it's fighting to prove that unique, creative games can still make it on Roblox. That you don't need to be a grindy simulator with endless dopamine loops to succeed. That a game can be different, unpredictable, and even a little chaotic, and still build a loyal community that sticks around. If Dead Rails can keep building on what this update started, then maybe we are witnessing the beginning of one of the greatest comebacks Roblox has ever seen. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. See you in the next video.